What is up, everyone? I hope you're doing well. This is part 3 of the photo sharing app UI Figma to React Native. In this section, we will be building out this secondary page, the shared album page in the app. So what you'll learn in this one, once again, how to use reusable components, but most importantly, you'll learn how to create this gallery image view using React Native's FlatList. So if this is the first time you're watching this series, definitely check out the initial video where we built out the design using Figma. So you'll find the link to this in the description below, but we've got the app mockups, which you could copy and play around with. We've got the design system with some reusable components. We've got all the images and also the template we were following to create this design. Now, if you also check in the description, you'll see the link to the GitHub repository where you'll be able to find the starter template, and also in a different branch, you'll find the finished code, which I'll be updating once I finish the series. So jump to the first video if this is the first time here, where you'll be able to clone the repository. Otherwise, let's jump right into our code. So I have our project opened. First thing I'll do is expo start and get it open on the simulator. Cool, so I just got it running on my simulator. If you have your phone next to you, you could also run it on your phone by scanning the QR code on your screen, which is pretty cool. So today we're going to be building out this secondary page, the shared album page. So we could go ahead and open up source components shared album, and we'll start from here to build out the page. So let's go look at our design, what we might need. So if we look over here, we see that we have an image as the background for this section here, with some titles and then another subtitle over here. This is going to be another section, and it reuses the component we created in the last video for the avatars. So that's going to be pretty fast to implement. And then lastly, the heavy lifting is going to be done down here, where we're going to need to render out a list with 3 columns and basically show all the pictures. So we'll try to use reusable components as much as we can. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump into it. So to get started, we can delete what we already had here, since we won't be using it at all. And we could replace this with a scroll view, since we'll want to be able to scroll through all the pictures that we display on the screen. Now, the next section we'll work on is that top section here. Since we want to focus on reusable components, let's go ahead and create one. So we'll create a new file. This one, we could call it SharedAlbumTitleCard.js. And this isn't the best naming, but just for the sake of getting this up and running quickly, we'll name it like that to kind of differentiate it from the card here. What would be better is you create separate folders for each page, but I want to keep this as simple as possible for you guys, so let's just leave it like that. So L4C, so shared album title card. And in here, we'll want to render a couple things, but before we do that, let's go render it here, shared album title card. Cool. And let's just make sure that we actually see it. So let's return a view with a text saying, hey, and let's make sure to import the text, save that, and save that. Now let's see if that worked. Can't find variable ScrollView, so we need to make sure to import it up here. So ScrollView, save that, go to the next page. There we go. We see, hey. So since this section up here will be rendering out some details about the album, we need to pass in the album. So to do that, we got the album in the previous video up here from the route parameters. So we go ahead and say album is equal to the album from up here. So I'm also going to delete this console log since we don't need it. So I'll save that. Now go to shared album title card. And in here, we'll go grab the album that we just passed in. So now that we've got that, let's delete all of this, or actually, you know what? Let's just make sure that it worked. So album dot title. If we save that, there we go. Dogs. If we go click night sky, hiking. Cool. So we know that it's working. So we'll just get started with the dogs one, and let's get building. So we'll want an image background. So image background. And in here, we need to give it a source. So we'll say album.background and a style. Styles.top image background. Cool. And actually, let's just change this to image background. And yeah, perfect. So by the way, the data that we're getting here is, so from album, so if we go into data, album page, it's this information here. So this is considered to be one album. So that's what's being passed into the shared album, and then afterwards in shared album title card. Now right away, let's get started with the styles so that we could actually see as we build. Stylesheet.create. And then in here, we'll say resize mode. Oh, sorry, we need the name. So image background, that'll be the first one that we'll work on. So resize mode, it's going to be cover. Oh my God, doing a lot of typos today. So, okay, there we go. Overflow, hidden, height, and here we could use our theme again. And if it doesn't want to auto import, then just import theme from, go grab it from the assets, themes, index, so theme dot image height, and this one's going to be large. So let's save that. Awesome. I already started seeing it. So margin top, let's give it some spacing. So we'll say spacing medium. Kind of give it a bit of space on top there. Now we'll also want some horizontal margin horizontal. And we'll say theme.spacing.medium, which is 16. Nice. Some padding horizontal, since if we look at the design, we could see that there's a bit of spacing on the sides. So padding horizontal is going to be theme.spacing.medium as well, and it's not going to change anything now. Lastly, some border radius. So theme dot border radius dot medium. Nice. And then we could also justify the content to be flex end. And what that's going to do is it's going to push everything to the bottom here, like we see it in the design. So that is good. Now we could start adding some things to the actual image, like inside of it. So we'll get started with a view, and we'll give this view a style. So this style is going to be styles.top image background. And in here we'll have one view to have the text items, so 2 text items, so the title and subtitle. And then we'll have another view where in here we'll have the kind of like mini subtitle on the right there. So let's get started. So the first one is going to be the album.title. Second one is going to be the album.user. And if we go back to the design, we see it's created by, and then the user. So let's go ahead, put some backticks here. Backticks, say created by, and similar to what we did before, $, open curly brace, close curly brace to inject our JavaScript. And then this one is going to be the number of photos. So for now, let's just put 102 photos as a placeholder. So that works. And now let's add some styles to everything. So let's go ahead here, style is equal to styles dot image title. Let's copy that, paste it here, and call this one image subtitle. Cool. Now in here we'll say styles dot image number, and we'll go ahead, I'm holding down the option key and clicking all of them. So first one, second, third, I think we need this one as well. And actually, before we do that, let's change this one to just image background. Not sure why I added top, but anyways. So image background. Oh, sorry, these two are the same. Oh, that's my bad. So it's not going to be image background. This is going to be image content container. There we go. So now I'm double clicking that one, holding down the option key and double clicking all the other ones. Command C or Control C to copy them, paste them in here. Now I'm holding down the option key again. There we go. And just add a comma. Awesome. So we'll get started with the image content container. So let's actually save this to see what it looks like. So they're all down there, which is kind of ugly. So let's make this nice. Flex direction of row. So already that's going to put this first section on the left and this one on the right, since these are wrapped in a view and this is in a different view. Now we'll say align items center, so that they're all centered with each other, and then justify content of space between. Now that's going to push them to either side. Finally, let's give it a bit of margin at the bottom, or actually, you know what, let's give some padding here. So padding horizontal, let's do the same thing, but for padding vertical. Padding vertical, save that. There we go, already looks better. So now for the title, so we could do something similar that we did before. So theme.textVariance.h1, and when I say before, I mean the previous video. So just by doing that, it already improves the look of the title. And let's give it a color, theme.colors.white. Save that. Awesome. Now I'm going to copy that for image subtitle. And image subtitle, instead of an H1, we'll be using a body 2. Nice. And then image number, we'll do something similar. So instead of H1, this is going to be the smallest possible one, so body 3. And then the color here is also going to be white. Let's see how that looks. Actually, let's give it like gray or light gray. Yeah, okay, there we go. That looks better. Awesome. Now we can see that this 102 photos is a bit higher than in the design. So the reason for that is we have align items center. What we could actually say is align items, I believe it's flex end. Now that's going to push it to the bottom. There we go. Now going back to this 102 photos, in the data for the album page, like we said, this is one album right here. I think if this was a real app, we'd have all the pictures for that album in here, or we'd go get them from a database. Because we're not doing any of that in this app, I think it's fine. We could just leave this as a hard-coded 102 photos. But otherwise, it would be really simple to fix that. You would just have an array, and then in here you would say the, so like the array name dot length. And you'd get the number, and then you could just write photos afterwards. So for now, we are done with this top section, and we can see that it scrolls nicely. Cool. So let's just go check it out with some other items. So travel looks amazing. So perfect. And now this one we can see Jimmy. Cool. So now going back to our shared album, let's go ahead and create this section here. Since this is a really small section, I'm just going to create it in the component itself rather than using a reusable component. So let's go ahead and make that. So we'll have a view, give it a style of styles.avatar container. And then in here, we'll want to render the avatars. So we'll want to render this component here. So avatars, and it's not importing, so let's go import it ourselves. Import avatars from, /avatars. And then in here, we need to pass in the avatars, which is going to be album.avatars. Good, and then we'll also want to pass in a text item right here on the right. So text, and this is going to be backticks. So we'll say $, open curly brace. It's going to be album.avatars.length, and we'll say people. So yeah, let's save that. Actually, no, I'm going to get an error because we don't have the styles set up. So let's go set that up. Styles is equal to stylesheet.create. And then in here, yeah, let's just, so avatar container, let's leave it empty for now, comma, save that, and there we go. So 1 people, and this one 2, 3, and so on. So we could go ahead and create the style for this item. So yeah, let's just open it up again. So let's say flex direction is going to be row, and I'll save it so you can see what happens. Nice. Align items in the center so that they align like that. Justify content space between goes to either side. Now let's give it a background color of theme. So theme isn't imported, so we'll auto import it or import it yourself manually. .colors .light gray. Cool. Now let's start giving it some margin. So margin vertical. We'll say theme.spacing.large. We'll give it a margin horizontal as well of theme.spacing.medium. Then we could save that, see what it looks like. Let's give it a bit of spacing. So, sorry, a bit of padding. So padding horizontal is theme.spacing.medium. Padding vertical as well, theme.spacing. Say extra small for this one. And lastly, we'll want to give it some rounded borders. So border radius, theme.border radius.medium. Save that. And now it looks exactly like what we had here. So let's go to one with 3 people. And there it is. So the last thing is going to be changing up the style on the text. So style is equal to styles.avatar container text. Bring that down here. And for this, we'll say theme.text variance.body 3. Sorry about that. And we'll give it a color of theme.colors.gray. Cool. And we see that up here. Now, another way, if this were too light, we could also give it a color of black, and then also give it some opacity, let's say like 0.3, and then it looks a bit better, but for this video, we'll just leave it as it is. So gray, perfect. Okay, nice. Now the last thing that we need is this image gallery. So the way we'll do this is going to be rendered as a flat list with 3 columns. So it's pretty simple. Let's go ahead and make a reusable component for that. So we'll call it image gallery. And let's go source components, new file, image gallery.js. create the component, so image gallery. And for now, let's just say view text image gallery to make sure it's all hooked up properly. So import view text, and let's say style sheet for now from React Native. Save that, and here we could start retyping it again. It should, no, it's not. I was thinking it was going to auto import, so let's go import it here. Image gallery from image gallery. Save that. We should see it show up. There we go, image gallery. So let's, we know that in the image gallery, we're going to need to pass in all the images. So we could say, so we could pass that as a prop. So images is equal to all the images. And usually what you would do is either you would store all the images in the data file, so in here under each album. But if this was a real app, usually you'd probably go fetch them from a database, so they wouldn't be stored here. So instead, what I did is I stored all of them in this background images file. And this is just all the images repeated twice. So image 1 appears here, and it also appears here at ID 9, just so we get that gallery view. So we'll go ahead and import that data. So import background images from, oh, sorry, I forgot, from assets, images, and this is going to be, oh, sorry about that. This is data. So assets, data, and then background images. And now we could just pass in that background images to our image gallery. Now in image gallery, so image gallery, we're gonna go grab it. So I think we called it images. So yep, so images. And then if we really wanted, we could console log images to make sure that they're all there. Awesome. So to get started with this image gallery component, let's go look at the design. So we have photos. So we have a little title at the top, and then after we have the actual gallery. So let's get started with that. So we'll have a view that wraps everything. Then we'll have a text which says photos. And then we'll have our list here. So let's just start adding some styles. So actually before doing that, const styles is equal to style sheet dot create. And in here, let's say style is equal to styles dot gallery container. This is going to be styles dot gallery text. So let's copy both of those. I'm holding down the Option key, paste them in here. Awesome, and leave that like that for now. And let's render let's create the flat list. So we'll need a flat list in here. And just one thing to be aware of, sometimes it imports it from React Native gesture handler. We don't want that, so just delete it, import it from React Native. And so we'll have our flat list in here where we could pass in our data, which is going to be the images from above. We also need a key extractor. So that's just kind of gonna set the key value so we don't get any warnings that children should have a key ID. Then we'll want a number of columns to be equal to 3. Scroll enabled, we'll say false because this is already scrollable. Render item, so this is going to be the item from above. And for now we could say like text, and since this is just a picture, actually we probably can't do that. So let's just comment this out for now. So basically what we'll do is we'll render each item into a component. So that's what we'll pass in here. So to do that now, we have to go create the component. So we could create it just above. We'll call it list image. And it takes in an item, which is going to be the actual image. So you know what, let's change this to image. And it's going to return an image. And let's give it some styles. Source first and then styles. Image dot background. And style is going to be styles dot gallery image. Cool. So now in here, render item is going to be item, and we'll pass in a list image. And now the image is going to be equal to the item. And just wrap some regular brackets around item so it works properly. Amazing. And now let's add some styles. So we're going to need to add some style for the gallery image, for the image to actually show. So let's go do that right away before actually like saving it and testing it. Otherwise we might get some errors. So the gallery image is going to have a height of theme.image_height.large. And once again, the theme auto imported. If it didn't for you, just import it like that. Then the width is going to be theme.image_height.l. So we could save that. There we go. So it already shows up. Close this warning for now. And then we also want to give a bit of margin between everything. So margin, and we'll just say 2 for now. Great. So it's already looking amazing. Let's finish up our styles here. So gallery container, we'll want to align the items in the center. Save that. Boom. And then margin bottom, we'll want to give it a bit of margin at the bottom because we can see that it's way too sticky there. So theme.spacing.large. And there we go. Adds a bit of spacing there. Now lastly, the gallery text. So this is going to be theme.text variance. And this one's going to be a body 3. And then the color is going to be theme.colors.gray. If we save that, looks good. And you'll notice that the images do repeat because, like I had said, it was a lot of images to download and place, so I just repeated them twice. But if this was an actual app, it would come from the database or something like that in order to populate each image only once. But that looks good. Let's see how the others look. Awesome. That's exactly what we were going for. So now let's address this warning. It says virtualized lists should never be nested inside plain scroll views with the same orientation. And what that's saying is that we have a scroll view out here to scroll. And then we also have a flat list, which is also basically a scroll view, right? Because a flat list enables you to scroll through a list. Since we said scroll enabled as false, we can't only scroll this section. So it scrolls the entire thing. But generally, this is not great for performance because by doing it like this, it doesn't use virtualization, which is where as you scroll, the new pictures load on the app rather than the way it is right now, everything loads at once, which could be slow. Since we're just learning, it's fine. And to remove that warning, we could go to app.js. So go to app.js. And at the top here, just say logbox. So it's going to import it automatically. Logbox.ignore logs. And then it's going to look for this string. So virtualized lists. Now, if we save that and we try it again, we shouldn't see that warning. I wouldn't suggest this if you're building a real app that you want to publish to the App Store, but just for the sake of learning, it works fine. Cool, so I hope you enjoyed this video. So in this video, we set up this shared album page. So we learned tons of things about reusable components, and then how to create this flat list with a certain number of columns. Now, if you want to stick around for the next video, we'll be building out this bottom sheet here with this button at the top. So this is something that could be confusing at first, but once you've learned it, it's pretty simple and it's a nice touch to any app you're making. So yeah, stick around for the next video, and I hope you enjoyed this. Have a great day.